Hi everybody, it's Mary Ellen Stites from Create With Me, and I'm here in the Creativity Nest for Teach Me Tuesday. So I am super excited to be sharing with you a card that we did together in my stamping club this week, and they really enjoyed it. So I thought that you might too. And it's using a brand new stamp set out of the May through April 2024-25 annual catalog. It is called Country Birdhouse. So this is the stamp set that we're using today. Of course, you know that I create in the Creativity Nest, so I am all about the birds. And so I've been enjoying the hummingbirds, and the orioles have been back, and the rose-breasted grosbeaks and all the pretties. So I've really been enjoying them. So I wanted to do something using Country Birdhouse in a fun, fancy fold. So we're going to do a diorama card today, and I hope you really enjoy it. So these are the pieces that you're going to need to complete your card. You're going to need one base cardstock, which is 4¼ by 11, which is 1/2 of a 8½ by 11, just cut in the hot dog style. And then you're going to need a piece of designer series paper and a white piece of paper, and they are both the same size. They are 3 3/8 by 4¼ You're also going to need 2 strips of the same designer series paper that are 4¼ by 3/8 of an inch. You're going to need a piece of decorating designer series paper. In this case, this designer series paper is called Country Wood, and this is one of the new papers that I really, really love. Every paper, and the ladies yesterday were commenting, or this week were commenting on how much they love this paper. And I think you will too. Then you're going to need a scrap of, I'm using basic beige, but of course you're going to decorate your diorama card any way that you want. But I just want to give you the fundamentals of what we got. So I'm going to kind of set these pieces aside, and I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer with the scoring blade on it. And I want to get this so that you can see what my scores are. So I'm going to put these in the video description, but see if you can catch them here also. There's quite a few. So let me get my arm extended because we've got quite a few. I want to make sure that it's where you can see them. Okay, so we're going to start at 1/2 inch. We're going to pull our cutting blade out of the way. So it's 1/2 inch. It's 1 inch. Score 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 4½ inches. So we're going to go all the way to 4½ inches, and then we're going to do some 1/2 inches. So we've got 5, 5½, 6, 6½, and then we're going to jump to 10 and 10½. Okay, so those are our basic score marks. Let me go over them again. They're 1/2, 1. Then they are 4½, 5, 5½, 6, 6½, then 10 and 10½. Okay, and so you can set that aside. You're going to bring in your piece of designer series paper or whatever you're going to decorate your diorama card with. And I'm going to use this beautiful piece from the Country Wood, and I'm going to stamp it with the birdhouse. Okay, so this piece, it barely fits the piece, but it was the most economical way for me to cut it for a large group of stampers. So we're going to try to get this on as much as we can. We're going to stamp that birdhouse just like that. Okay, now I've got one already cut out for you. I'm going to bring that one in. I'm going to trade that one out. So all I did was take the die, the birdhouse die, and I cut that out. Okay, so I'm going to put that one aside. Then I'm going to bring in the little scrap of, this is a new basic beige, and I'm really loving this basic beige when I just want to tone things down just a little. So I'm going to bring the early espresso back in and my little bird, and I'm going to stamp and cut out my little bird, and I've done that in advance for you. But we're not done with the bird, but we are just temporarily. So here's the little bird. I've die cut that out. I've got the birdhouse. I've die cut that out. So now we're going to put on our designer series paper onto our card. So I like to keep my card flat. I've got all my scores in it, but I like to keep it flat while I am decorating and kind of assembling things before I put it all together. Okay, so this paper is going to go, you've got 1/2 1, and then you've got to 4.5. So between the 1 and the 4.5, it's going to go from top to bottom, and it's going to sit right between those folds. And you can see them pretty clearly. You won't be able to see them right here on the camera, but you can see them pretty clearly in person. Okay, then I'm going to take my strips of designer series paper, and I am going to put some adhesive right down there, and I'm going to put one in this first 1/2 inch, and it's going to go, you're going to have a little border, but it's going to go from top to bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to take the second piece, and this paper is pretty on both sides, so you could choose to use either side. And then I'm going to skip a line, and I'm going to put that on this line. So your designer series paper should look something like this. In the first 1/2 inch, skip a 1/2 inch, you put your big piece, skip a 1/2 inch, and then you put this piece. So if I folded my card in half, it would look just like this. Okay, so now it's time to put our, we're going to keep it open. Now it's time to mount our birdhouse. So I'm going to mount my birdhouse right in the middle of my designer series paper. I'm adding a lot of glue because I'm going to actually do a little die cutting on it. So I'm going to put that right here in the middle. And this is just like my little birdhouse is just like here at home. I've got one mounted on my big sycamore tree. So it just sits right on my big sycamore tree. And every year I get wrens in my little birdhouse. So now we're going to do a little die cutting, and I'm going to do this for you in person. So I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, just like this. Okay, and then what you're going to do is you're going to put your whole card on there. You're going to bring in one of the circles, the die cut circles. You just want to find, if you're doing this design, whoops, let me get some new tape, or probably don't even really need tape. Let me just get that off of there. Okay, so I just want to make sure that my circle is within the, I'm not cutting off any of my scallops. I'm not going outside of my birdhouse parameters. Hopefully I can just hold it on and run it through my machine. Now, I am going through a lot of layers, so I'm going to go back and forth a few times. I'm going to go do it 4 times. It may still not cut out perfectly. It depends on your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, because they're all, honestly, they're all just a little bit different. Let me put that away. They're all just a little bit different, and sometimes some are a little tighter than others and cut out a little bit better, but there's always a solution. I'm pretty good on that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of tear it, and I'm going to take my snips. I've got a little bit of a raw edge here that I don't love, but it's on the inside. But I want to get any of that fray out of the way. Okay. All right. Just because we have so many layers. We've got 2 pieces of designer series paper and this crumb cake cardstock. So let me set that out of the way. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my card in half, and I'm going to bring in a pencil. I've got one right here, and I'm just going to make a little pencil mark. I'm just going to draw around my circle about, oh, it's just a little bit. It's only about that much, because I want to be able to see. I want to have some kind of register of where I'm going to place a bird on the inside. Now, I want the reverse of this bird, because I've got this bird here that's going to be looking at it. Well, this one here, and I'm going to put on the outside, and I'd like to have another bird that's facing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my silicone mat, and we're going to do a little bit of reverse stamping. This is super easy. Okay, so you're just going to take your bird, you're going to stamp it. I'm just going to stamp it right here on the corner, and then I'm going to bring in my cardstock, and I can see my bird through my silicone mat. I just wanted to be peeking through that hole. So I'm going to try to position it in the right place, and I'm going to press down and try not to move it too much. I'm just going to let that ink soak in. I've got a solution if I'm not perfect about it, but I'm just going to hold that on there, let that ink soak in. Then I'm going to peel it up. That's not bad. I got a pretty good image. So my bird My bird is reversed, and you can see my pencil mark, so I can take my eraser and just erase those quickly. Get those out of the way. And I'm going to do a little bit of coloring. Let me close my ink pad. I'm going to bring both birds out. So now I've got the reverse bird here, and I'm going to use a couple markers. So I've got a marker and 2 blends. So I'm going to use my light Calypso Coral, and I'm going to just have the belly of this bird. And if you know birds at all, you know usually the male is the colorful one, the female, not usually as much. But in this case, we're going to just pretend that this one that's inside is a little duller in color. And that's the female, and she's sitting on a little nest of eggs. See, I just like to tell stories about my stamps. So we're going to pretend that she's in there, and she's the mama bird, and she's just protecting. And we're just going to color her. And then we're going to color the daddy bird. And he's a little more vibrant because we've got him on the basic beige. And we're just going to give him a little color. This is Balmy Blue blend. You can color your bird any color you want. It would be beautiful as a cardinal. It's really up to you. And then I'm going to take the Crumb Cake Stampin' Right marker and just color in. It's not so important there because that'll be inside the circle. But I'm going to color in the beak, and I'm going to color in the little feet. And then sometimes that eye needs a little attention. I'm going to leave that one just like it is. So now that bird is peeking through the window, and we can go ahead and add this bird to the outside. And I want him to be popped up a little bit. So I'm going to take some Stampin' Dimensionals, and I want it on his back end so that it doesn't go through the hole. Okay, so I want him just sitting, he's sitting on the ledge here, and he's talking to the mama bird that's inside the house. And then while I've got that, just like this, I want to add a little greeting. Hopefully I've left enough room, and I'm going to use the greeting Hello Friend from the same stamp set. And I can stamp right through my hole, just like that, Hello Friend. Okay, and now it's time to do a little decorating. Now I've got a little bit of designer series paper that's off the edge there. I'm going to snip that off. Everything else looks pretty good. I'm going to decorate with my flowers. So I've die cut some of the flowers from this die set, and I've just got them here. And I'm just going to use some leaves. I'm going to kind of pour those out, and then I'm going to push them out of the way. But I'm going to use a little bit of glue. And I'm going to put the glue right on my images here. Get that glue coming out. I'm going to put a couple leaves going either which way that the bird is kind of sitting on. I could use my take your pick tool for that. This would be great. That would be great for this. Okay, and maybe one more to kind of cover up that stem. You don't have enough, and then you have too much. Okay, and then I'm going to add some flowers. You can do it, you can tuck it under. Just like this. Cute. If you want to pop one up, you can pop one up. I'm trying to decide. There's so many choices here. I think I'll just do one more. Maybe up under here. So that little bird is surrounded by flowers. And then if you want, you could put a few leaves up here and another flower or two. Let's see. Or maybe even just one. Yeah, maybe just one. You can just stick a half flower here. I'm going to hold it on for a second. Okay, so there's all my flowers, and I'm going to put those back in to use on another card. Put those back in my container. I just like to keep a bunch of little pre-cut things. Then I'm going to use some embellishments, and I've used the iridescent. I'm going to use the iridescent pearls, and I'm just going to add some centers to my flowers. I love these little iridescent pearls. They're just got a little step up. If you wanted to color them, if you wanted them to be yellow, you could do that. I kind of like just the way that it is. And then it's time to do our fold to make our diorama card, because right now it looks, you know, it's fairly odd. So we're going to bend this one in and bend this one out. We're doing just a little accordion. I'm trying to be careful because I've got my glue still setting. And then I did the same thing here. I bent it in and bent it out. And I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to go in. I'm going to go out. I'm going to go in. I'm going to go out, giving it a crease. And then I've got one more. This one I went through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, so it lost its score a little bit. So our diorama is going to look like this. So now we've got to put a little adhesive in here and in here. Now I'm just going to use, I think I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus, give it a little stronger hold. I usually just use liquid adhesive, but I don't want to hold it that long. So let's see if I can do it with this. So I'm going to close that one up, and I'm going to close this one. Oops. Sometimes I just want to bring it closer to myself. And so here is our cute little diorama. You can see our little hello friend and our little bird inside. And then you might say, well, M.E, I don't know, like, where am I going to write my message to my friend? So that's where this little piece comes in. If you want to do a little stamping, I've got the bird right here, and I'm going to stamp Mr. Bird right down here. I'm not even going to color him. I kind of like the plainness of him. And then I'm just going to add a leaf and a flower. I've got a couple, let's see. I'm going to add a little leaf right there. And I'm going to add a tiny flower right here. Okay. Hold that on for just a second to let that glue. It's probably going to still come off. And then I can add that to the back of my card after I've signed it, of course. And then I can add that right here for my message. And there my card is complete. So super cute diorama card. Looks like this on the inside. When I send it, I usually fold those in and send it like this in a regular envelope, because then it pops out. If I lay it flat, sometimes it's confusing about what it's supposed to look like. So I usually push those in, I lay it flat, and then when they take it out of the envelope and it kind of pops itself up, then it's kind of like a pop-up card, and it's easy to understand. If you lay it flat like this, which it will fit in an envelope like this, it's confusing. What is it supposed to be? I don't understand. So just fold those in and then stick it in your little envelope. When they pull it out, it'll look like this and it will pop right up. So I hope you enjoyed today's diorama card using the Country Birdhouse stamp set. And as much as I enjoyed making it, it's just so fun and so adorable. And we learned a little new technique, reverse stamping, using our silicone mat. So let me know if you've done something or if you've created a diorama card after viewing this video. I'd love to see it. I have a community, a creative community on Facebook. Please reach out to me. The link is in the video description. Join the group, share your photos. It's absolutely fabulous. And if you don't subscribe to my YouTube channel, click in the lower right-hand corner to subscribe right now. I would love that. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye, everybody.